Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful stories ever told, right from the book of Genesis. It's a tale of family, betrayal, and forgiveness that is just as gripping today as it was thousands of years ago. Of course, I'm talking about the story of Joseph.
But you gotta wonder, right? How does a story from so long ago, with all this family drama, favoritism, and these wild dreams, how does it still manage to speak so directly to us, right here, right now?
Well, here's how we're going to unpack it. We'll start with the family conflict that just blows everything up. Then we'll follow Joseph's insane journey from a prison cell to a palace. After that, we'll get to the dramatic reunion, and finally, we'll dig into the big themes that really explain why this story still matters so much.
Okay, so let's set the stage. Like all the best dramas, this one kicks off right at home with family. But, this isn't some happy family portrait. It's a household just simmering with tension.
The whole thing really ignites from two sparks. First, you've got the father, Jacob, who isn't even trying to hide his favoritism for Joseph. He gives him this incredible coat that basically screams, "Hey everyone, I'm the favorite." And then Joseph starts having these dreams where his entire family is bowing down to him. And he tells them about it. I mean, it's just the perfect recipe for disaster.
And yeah, that combination just pours gasoline on the fire of his brother's jealousy. It gets so bad, they decide they have to get rid of him. For good. They end up selling him into slavery, and then they take that famous coat, dip it in animal blood, and lie right to their father's face, telling him his favorite son is dead. It is a completely brutal betrayal, and it's the moment that kicks off Joseph's unbelievable journey. And what a journey it is. Suddenly, Joseph's in Egypt, a totally foreign land, and his life becomes this absolute roller coaster of incredible highs and soul-crushing lows. I mean, just look at this trajectory. He goes from the favorite son to a slave. But even then, he rises up to become a trusted servant, only to be falsely accused and thrown into prison. And yet, somehow, from that prison cell, he's going to become the governor of all of Egypt. You look at a path like that, and you can't help but think, this doesn't feel random. It feels like there's a bigger purpose at play. So even at his absolute lowest point, sitting in a dungeon, Joseph's unique gift, it's still there. He ends up meeting Pharaoh's ex-cupbearer and ex-baker, interprets the really weird dreams, and nails their fates perfectly. He tells them one will be restored to his job and the other will be executed. But Joseph has to wait. He's actually forgotten in that prison for 2 more years. Then, out of nowhere, Pharaoh himself starts having these disturbing dreams that nobody can figure out. And that's when the cupbearer finally remembers the guy from prison. So, Joseph is summoned from his cell, and he interprets the dreams with amazing clarity. There are 7 years of incredible abundance coming, followed by 7 years of a devastating famine.
And just like that, boom. With that one interpretation, Joseph goes from a forgotten prisoner to the second most powerful man in Egypt. Pharaoh basically hands him the keys to the kingdom. It is one of the most unbelievable reversals of fortune you can possibly imagine.
So now the story is about to come full circle. The famine hits, just like Joseph said it would. And it sets the stage for this massive confrontation between Joseph's past and his present.
The famine is huge, it spreads way beyond Egypt. And pretty soon, a group of desperate men shows up looking to buy grain. And guess who it is? His brothers. And there they are, bowing down before this powerful Egyptian governor with absolutely no idea that they are fulfilling the very dream that made them hate him so much in the first place. The irony is just off the charts. Now, Joseph recognizes them immediately, but he doesn't say a word. Instead, he puts them through this series of elaborate tests. He has to know, are these the same men who sold him into slavery? Have they changed at all? Do they feel any remorse? And most importantly, he tests their loyalty to the new favorite son, their youngest brother, Benjamin. When he finally sees that they've had a genuine change of heart, Joseph just can't hold it together anymore. The climax of this whole story is this incredibly emotional reveal where he just breaks down weeping and tells them who he is. And in that moment, he chooses forgiveness instead of revenge, and he brings his entire family to Egypt to save them from starvation. So, that's the plot. An incredible one, right? But the real story, the reason it's lasted for millennia, is what's going on beneath the surface. To really get it, we have to look at its powerful themes. And 4 themes really just jump out at you. First, there's this idea of divine providence, this sense that a guiding hand is shaping everything behind the scenes. We also see this amazing character transformation. But really, at its heart, the story is this epic battle between two huge forces: destructive jealousy on one side and redemptive forgiveness on the other.
Let's really look at that character transformation, because it's huge. The brothers start out just consumed by this raw, ugly envy. But by the end, they are completely different people. The best example is Judah. He's the one who first came up with the idea to sell Joseph. Years later, he's the one who offers his own life to become a slave himself, just to save his youngest brother Benjamin. It's a powerful, undeniable display of real repentance.
This one line spoken by Joseph to his brothers near the end is pretty much the theological heart of the entire story. It just perfectly captures that theme of divine providence. Notice, he doesn't say what they did wasn't evil. He says, "You meant evil against me." He validates their guilt. But then he reframes everything, suggesting that even the worst intentions can be woven into a bigger, better, redemptive plan. So, ultimately, the whole story really hangs on this incredible contrast. Jealousy is the thing that tears this family apart and causes decades of pain and guilt. But forgiveness, and this is an earned forgiveness, not a cheap one, is the thing that finally heals them. It gives us this powerful roadmap for how to move from being completely broken to being whole again. All right, let's bring it all home. Why does this ancient story still matter? What gives it such a lasting punch, both inside the larger biblical narrative and just for us today?
Well, within the Bible itself, it's absolutely crucial. It works like a narrative bridge. It's the story that explains how the family of the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, goes from being in Canaan to living in Egypt. And that, of course, sets the stage for the entire next chapter of their history, their enslavement, and the epic story of the Exodus led by Moses. And theologically, it's all about faithfulness. By putting Joseph in this incredible position of power, the story shows how God's original promise to Abraham that his descendants would become a great nation is kept alive. The family is literally safe from being wiped out by a famine, which means the covenant can continue.
But you don't have to be a theologian to get this story. Beyond all the specifics, it just speaks to us because it's so fundamentally human. I mean, the struggle with jealousy, the pain of betrayal, the long and difficult road to forgiveness. These are things we all get. It gives us a model for what reconciliation can look like, and it offers this radical idea that maybe, just maybe, there can be some purpose found in our suffering. It's really an enduring story of hope.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thought. We've just walked through this incredible cycle of a deep, painful betrayal, followed by an even deeper, more profound act of forgiveness. So the question for us is, what does this ancient story make us think about the power and the possibility of reconciliation in our own lives and in our own world today?